Close enough. Hi, hello, welcome. Welcome back to Doodle Crew. We're back. We're here. We're having a lunchtime stream. Surprise, it's during the day. So I'm going to say that maybe describes the chaotic energy. Probably not. We just are this way. But yeah, we're back. I'm super, super excited. This prompt is very fun to me because this is one that was suggested to us back in 2022 by Delphine Raven, who hung out in the chat a whole bunch and is in the Discord. But clearly, I'm very on top of things and got around to it now. So we're doing it now. But we are doing art and music. So we are selecting an art style and a musician or a band to do in said art style. So we're going to do the thing. We're going to go around, say hi, and introduce ourselves and where people can find us. And we're going to you first, Alex. Hello.
Hello. I was totally prepared for this line of questioning. Hey, I am Alex. I do a lot of podcasts and streams and shit. Yeah, Alex and Birds. That's where you can find me on Twitter. It's where you can find me on Blue Sky. I don't know, other places, whatever. But yeah, I do a bunch of shows: Animorphs Anonymous, Dungeons of Drake and Beams, Horse Girls, Late Starters, Surprise Stack Book Club, Questmaster, Guild of Granddaughters, etc., etc., etc. Find them all. People that you know and love will be on them. Let that threat hang. Yeah. So that's what I do. Where you can find me. Was I supposed to answer what I'm doing too for my?
Let's do it. Yeah. What art style have you selected, and which artist, musician, band are you doing?
Great news. I've decided to, for once, play into my strengths, and I'm doing Renaissance, like a Chiaroscuro art style, and I'm doing Noah Kahan, because I freaking love him, and if ever there was a time to listen to him, it's right now.
And if you had to use a couple of words to describe what kind of music this person makes, what words would you use?
I feel like depressing should just be the first one, like before
perfect.
anything else. He's folk, he's... If you like guitar, banjo mixed in with kind of a little rockish twinge, sure, there. But yeah, depressing, about losing shit, your friends, living in a shitty place, alcoholism, you know, the usual light, bright topics we all know and love.
Absolutely. The things that really inspire great art, honestly.
Yes.
I love it so much. All right, Geoff, going to you. Hi, hello.
Hi, hello. Excuse me. Yeah, you'd think I've done this enough that I would be prepared as well, but I'm not. I'm Geoff Munn. I'm a freelance illustrator, comic artist, animator. I run Pocket Science Studios here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's about it, really. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I got rid of that, but I am on Blue Sky. I am on Threads, sure. Instagram, everything is under my name at this point, so it's just at Geoff Munn or Jeffrey Munn, either one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm on summer break from my big job, so things are kind of busy, honestly, so far. I'm working with a local comic startup, I guess we would call it. We're doing a workshop here for middle schoolers at the end of July, so that's kind of keeping me busy with getting that all up and running. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, like we have weekly meetings and stuff like that, and the kids are home and everything's hectic. So yeah.
And I saw on one of your social medias that I follow you on, coming up next week, you're going to be opening up commissions again?
Now.
It's now. The time is now.
Today, commissions are back open, and yeah, we have a soccer tournament this weekend, so any commissions that I can pick up this week would be great because we have to go away for it. So lots of money will be spent. So I think,
yay!
Anything big, anything small, hit me up, DM me, email me, whatever. You can find most of my information anywhere. So
yeah, and as always, if not, you're always welcome to hit me up, and I will happily pass along information on any of the artists. And what art style and musician band are you doing today?
So yeah, I'm gonna actually work outside of my comfort zone, and I'm gonna do some Cubism, I think, today. At least attempt to, and I picked Stone Temple Pilots to do that with. So We'll see what happens.
Nice. And if people are not familiar with STP and their type of music, what words would you use to describe them?
They came up during the same time as the grunge period, although they did not come from Seattle. They came from California. So they kind of had that vibe going. Alternative rock, hard rock, kind of bridge the gap there. Post grunge ish stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. I'm very, very excited about this. But yeah, finally, I'm Swan. I'm a Swan named Emily. All across the internet, that's where you can find me. Sorry, I'm just cracking up at the chat. I love all of you so much. But yeah, I'm an artist. I do art. I do graphic design. I podcast. I do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm all over. You can find me chatting with my friends on the podcast. In addition, you can find me drawing with my friends tomorrow over on twitch.tv/CZDrop for Art Corner. You can listen to my voice more sometimes when we surprise you with Surprise Attack Book Club. I am also on Guild of Granddaughters. I am also on a couple of episodes of Dungeons and Dragon Beams, doing some Animorphs D&D. Also, if you like Animorphs, we did just do a Animorphs themed Doodle Crew episode, which was very, very fun. And if you would like to hang out and read along with me on my very first read through of Animorphs, you can listen to that over on Animorphs Anonymous. We also stream that. So if you want to hear me experience the Child War for the very first time, that is the thing that is happening. So I'm super, super excited. You can find and follow Doodle Crew all across the internet at Doodle Crew Draw. We are on Twitter. I don't post there anymore, but we're still there. We're mostly on Instagram and Facebook. Me personally, Swan, I have moved over to Kara. I'm trying that out because I really like that artist's friends place a little bit better. And I would love to leave Instagram, much like I would love to leave Facebook, but I'm not fully there yet. But I'm trying. I'm trying to get away from some of them because they make me sad. So I'd like to find a happy place to do all that. But yeah, I am fully leaning in to my likes and styles, and I'm being the basic bitch, and I am doing Art Nouveau. I'm doing straight up Alphonse Mucha, which is one of my favorite Art Nouveau artists. So that is going to be my inspiration. I don't tend to draw this detailed, so that's going to be interesting, but it is the style that I love. And I am doing the band Rammstein. Because when you think Art Nouveau, you think German heavy metal. So I have loved Rammstein for a very, very long time. I really like heavy German metal. But there is a specific song called Engel, which is Angel, where in the concert that I got to see them in, the lead singer, whose name is Till Lindemann, came out and gets strapped in this whole thing with this huge metal set of wings that, of course, spit fire out of all of them. And it was so cool. And so I'm going to attempt to do that. So not only am I drawing a detailed style that I don't usually do, I'm also drawing bird wings because I said, hey, you know what? A really great bird wing artist is here. So let me just show my whole ass in front of them while I do this. So we're going to see how that goes. But
I'm taking that as full permission to be like, wow, Emily, this is really not how that wing is structured.
Absolutely,
and just
yes.
really be a
Yes.
dickhead the whole time.
Just roast me.
I think,
never draw birds. I never draw birds. Ever, not once.
Okay, that's because birds are built super weird. And every time you draw them, you'll be like, that's wrong. You know what the real secret is? A lot of birds have thousands of feathers around their body. They run in tracks. Most birds, other than penguins, which of course don't fly, so they don't need to worry about weight distribution, have tracks of how their feathers grow in. And swans in particular have something like 30,000 feathers on their neck. And they can control those to go at all, like how you get goosebumps, they can control those to go at all sorts of different angles. So it's real hard, guys, because birds can change their shape at will. And if you don't believe me, look up screech owl scared and screech owl puffed out. And you will be like, that's the same bird? Yes, it is. Welcome to my TED Talk about birds.
Yes, I'm here for all of this because I know nothing. Much like not being the one gardener out of my family, I'm also not the bird person in my family, which all of the rest of them are. So this lets me sound smart to my family, which is
just what you want.
Yep. Oh, Casey, I'm gonna steal that and put that on my dating profile.
Oh, please do.
Did say swans.
Sounds good to me. I like that. What I know about Emily's family, I've learned through making Emily do things with me. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna do Animorphs. She's like, oh yeah, my sister loves Animorphs. And then like everything I know about your family is through accidentally saying a thing that your family is an expert in. And that also I'm like, oh yeah, so you're willing to do it with us, right? And you're like, no, I have no interest in that thing. I'll do it with you. Just know I have no interest in that thing.
For the past 30 some years, there has been zero interest, but now is the time. Now we're going to do it.
One day your family's going to be like, who is this fucking weirdo that keeps making you do all this stuff that we've been trying to get you to do for years?
So
You're going to have to answer for that crime.
I'm so ready.
Are you? I'm not ready.
I have to be. I have to. Constant vigilance. Always ready.
Well, that's fair. I have no constant vigilance. I don't want to draw this much. Let's make it bigger.
Yeah, I will admit, so Mucha specifically did a lot of very, very tall and skinny and then full body stuff. And because the wings are taking up so much of this, I am absolutely only going down to like the waist for this character because I could not figure out how to fit everything in. So
make it taller.
Yeah.
Just go harder.
Go up more.
Just
more,
go up.
More.
What a terrible piece of advice. Did you guys want to learn about how to do art? Don't listen to me. I did actually, back in art school, I used to get a lot of questions from my teachers that were like, why did you choose the canvas this way? Because like I love doing really like skinny tall pieces or really like narrow pieces and then like maybe just breaking one of the borders a hair. And they're like, can you do like something that we could print on a piece of paper that exists in the world?
Anything at all that will ever fit in any standard frame size.
Honestly,
you don't have to custom frame it. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I will not be doing this thing, teachers. And then, you know what? Suck it. I went to go work at a custom framing shop after that, cabinetry shop that did framing as well. So I still never had to do anything right. Suck it, art nerds.
It's that further reinforcement of like, oh no, my bad behavior didn't get corrected and now I'm just getting completely rewarded for it. And I was like, I will never learn. I will never improve.
To learn. Not once. Not my whole life.
Nope. Yeah. And we love it.
Do we? And then you just like, there's some days where I'm like, why is nothing ever easy? Spoilers, it's my own fault.
It's me. I did it.
I'm the problem.
Oh, I was teaching the other day and talking about like setting up stuff or planning and everything. And I was talking with a student saying like, no, there's a bunch of times where had I sat down and kind of thought through some of this or had more foresight on it, like, oh no, I could have saved myself a lot of steps. But at the point that I'm at in my art, I'm like, it would take more time to go back and do it again the more efficient way. So I'm just going to keep like trudging through the mud on this. But I at least know I can recognize that this would have been a lot easier had I done it a completely different way. So
see, that's growth.
Yeah.
You don't fix it, but you know that it could have been easier.
Knowing is half the battle, I heard. And I heard that as a child and therefore never.
You're like, half the battle won. That's basically a D. I'm passing.
Whoops. It's fine. It's all fine.
Someone will learn from our mistakes and do better. I'm sure of it.
Exactly.
Not me.
But somebody.
Somebody.
And I'm excited for them.
I'm excited for them to reap the benefits of our mistakes, I guess. There we go. It's almost like I've learned something.
Well, and I think it's funny too because I appreciate now as an adult, as an artist for a long time and a teacher, like there's a lot of stuff in college where the teacher's like, well, why did you make this decision? And in my brain, I'm like, I don't know. I don't have the reflection of myself to know why. I was like, I thought it would be cool. That was it. That was literally the extent of that thought process. I cannot compute farther into that. And now it's like, okay, like here are the specific like lanes that took you to this, but we were not thinking at that level at that time. I was like, I don't know. I don't know why I've done this.
I mean, I think Yes. First of all, yes. 100% yes. And I think that part of, like, the most valuable part of art school that's come to help me in most parts of my life is the taking that second to think those things. Like, now, why did you do that? Because not a lot of people do that or have that. So, having that skill to be like, okay, I can see the steps that I took to get to here. Ooh, that's not what I meant to do. But, like,
Yeah. It helped a lot when I will say I'm taking the positive take out of this whole experience, but
uh-oh.
when I worked professional graphic design with a lot of non-designer clients,
Oh boy.
I had to spend a lot of time educating them not only in how to work with a graphic designer, but also just kind of on the process of art. And so there was a lot of, if I can distill down my thought process and give it to them in like 2 sentences, I do
Mhm.
not have to spend more time justifying to them why they need to answer my questions and go through these steps. I'm like, okay, so this is this. I took this information that you gave me. That informed this. Then I did this. Then I did this. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I'll stop asking you stuff. And I'm like, perfect. We both
Thank
win now.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Now is the real victory for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for the most part it's that, and then also I think critique is really important. Like, it's an important skill to have that I think a lot of people don't have the vocabulary to kind of break down and assess why in particular they like or dislike something.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can also teach all of our clients that skill, I think we'll be golden. So, corporate America, get on it. Get in the comments, corporate America. That'd be horrifying. Please don't do that, corporate America. You're not welcome here.
I don't think you're gonna like it here, and I don't know that
Well,
we want you here.
yeah, I think you're not gonna like it here. We're not gonna like having you here. And again, I don't know. Maybe corporate America is ready for change.
When I think of corporate America, that's definitely
Change
yep.
is right up there for you
Yep.
on top 10 things corporate America is
They
ready
do
for.
really well and like really want to embrace more of.
Love change. Love change. Let me tell you.
Point. Spoiler, it isn't. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Geoff, as someone who actually works with, I feel like, because I'm more in like middle school age to early high school. You are actually working with college kids. Are they more self-reflective? Can they talk about their process and all of that, or is it still very like think of art, do art?
It takes them a while to warm up. So, like, initially, nobody's comfortable with it at all. Like, this fall, I'll have all freshmen, so it'll be back to, like, the timid, I don't really want to talk type thing. I give them a good few weeks before I'm like, hey, you have to participate in these critiques. Because that is, like you said, it's a skill that everybody needs, especially as artists. Like, we need these skills to be able to say, why something is good, why something is not. Again, I work with clients, just like you guys were saying, I work with clients that just have no clue. And I have one client in particular right now that I'm hoping to finish up this week because it's driving me nuts. Is just someone who just doesn't have a clue as to how, like, what looks good or why it looks good or something like that. They don't get style. They don't get everything, basically. And the biggest red flag, and I should have avoided them to begin with, is but it was after contracts were signed that they started sending me, this is what I want something to look like, and they sent me AI generated stuff.
No.
And I just got sad.
Oh.
Like, oh, I'm stuck with this person now until I'm done with this job. Like, they just kept saying, well, can't you get it to look more like how I have this looking? Or I'm just like, I mean, I could, but at the same time, why did you hire me if you want something that looks like, it was made by something that doesn't feel and has no thought process and whatever. Like, I get that you kind of like how something looks, but at the same time, it doesn't look good, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah. No, why did you hire me was something I learned far, far later into my career than I would have liked. Because it was always like, because at the time when I graduated and I was looking for work, I was like, no, I'll take any job. I can figure something out. I can probably do it. But now, I feel a lot more established. I know what I do well and stuff I don't, and I'll have people come to me and I was like, but why me? Why did you pick me for this? This isn't what I do. And I can appreciate, for commissions, I think there's a little bit more wiggle room because I have people who often come to me to draw horror, which I think is hilarious because I don't ever draw horror. But I was like, no, if you want my like kind of cutesy, funny take on it, then yeah, I will absolutely do that. But if you're coming to me to draw like really like shredded monsters and guts and gore and all this really cool stuff, I'm like, I'm not your dude. I do not do that. But yeah, it's interesting with more corporate clients because I'm just like, but why? Why? You can go to somebody and get this exact thing that you're looking for, and it's not here. But okay,
It's not here.
Here. And then I live now in fear, and this was a fear I did not have until I went into the working world, and it was the I just need to see a bunch of these, and then I'll know what I want.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, so can you get us like 6 finished designs, and then we'll pick which direction we want to go? And I was like, okay, no. But here's how I think we can both maybe meet in the middle, and neither of us lose our mind. Mostly me, but also you. But yeah, that was I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I definitely had that happen. Like, just it'd be great if I saw what you were going to do before I hired you, and I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
It's also that difference in a, working in a professional setting for a long time. Like, I don't mind showing a portfolio and giving examples of work I've done before, but unless it's a specific project I'm going out for, I'm like, I don't audition anymore for like design clients in that sense, especially in that, I worked at a full-time studio. We had other clients. I was like, I'm not going to make a bid for this job. You're coming to us because we do design. If that works for you, great. If not, okay, you don't have to come here. I'm not going to spend more time doing a specific design for you to decide if you want to use us or not. But again, that came from a place of confidence in my own art and having the backing of, I have a job, I have other projects. I don't have to take this work, which is a really nice place to be in. And, when I first started, I wasn't there yet because I didn't have a portfolio of jobs I had done, and I just needed work to start learning.
Mm-hmm.
And to start paying the student loans.
Yay, those.
Yeah.
Oh, loans. Okay, so CZ Drop had asked, what do y'all do? What do y'all do? Not what he said, but how I'm going to say it.
That is 100% what he said. We all know it.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Austin. I'm sorry, Austin. I just put you on blast. You're not even here to defend yourself. What do you all do to clean up your line work digitally? I feel like every time I delete my sketch layer, everything looks thin and flat. Yes, I absolutely got him. So I will say, as you can see very much where I'm at right now, I work super, super sketchy. I do a lot of lines. I do a ton of scribbles and stuff to find out. And I also find there's often when I drop out my sketch layer, I don't like how thin and specific some of it is because I feel like it loses some of the energy. So a couple of things I'd say just easy is playing with the brush size or even the brush that you're using to do your like inking layer in. There are some, I know if you're working in Procreate, I know there are some where you can adjust the stability of them. So a higher stability will make your lines, it will almost auto curve your lines and make them really smooth. So if you are feeling unsteady, that can kind of help you smooth out those lines. But I find sometimes I'll turn that down, or I'll try and find brushes that don't have that as much, and I'll try and work quickly. I'll also work in a weird color, so I'm not being precious with it, so that the inking that I'm doing still has the same energy as the rough sketch that I did. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I think you've watched me on this show do line art 2 or 3 times because I couldn't get it quite how I wanted it.
That's how it goes.
But yeah. What about y'all? Because I know, Alex, I feel like you work so much more painterly, but Geoff, you have a very like graphic outlined style.
Yeah, I was thinking about this actually the other day, like how I will draw something 3 times minimum, probably. So like, not with this piece in particular, because I'm trying something completely new. But like when I go to draw my own stuff, I have my first pass is super rough. Like it's probably like, just super ugly, lines like this, just to get like the feel of like whatever I'm doing. And then I'll do another layer, like where I'll turn the opacity down. I'll do another layer where I clean it up, but still try and keep that looseness to it. And then my inking layer, which is like my final layer, since I work so rough and try not to clean up and get too detailed with everything, it allows me to continue to draw at that phase and not just trace. So when I'm inking and I ink fast, like I try to like really get swoopy lines and stuff like that, it allows me to still explore. And I think that eliminates any stiffness that you get from just tracing over and cleaning up your lines, allowing yourself to still have that a little bit of adventure while you're doing that part of the stage, like that final stage. I think really kind of helps keep things lively, and you don't lose that life that a lot of people a lot of artists complain about. Because if you're just tracing, then you're kind of losing you're losing a little bit of that fun that you've had while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's way better advice than anything I'm going to say, because I do work very painterly, so. I think I Photoshop in a way that it was not intended, in the same way that I use gouache and watercolor to do extremely precise line work. And that's, don't worry about your layers or getting a clean line work or everything. Just keep drawing over top of it until you get what you want. And then don't ever erase an underlayer, because that is contributing to what you're laying on top of. Like, everything is just paint. It's like the same as building up wash layers on a canvas for me, because that's all I fucking know. Because I'm a moron who never learned how to do digital. I was like, no, I just want to do traditional forever. Hey guys, that's dumb. If you're going to art school, don't do that. Don't be that person. So, here you go. Don't be me.
No, I think so especially with digital art, and I'll say, as someone who, given the option, I think I'd almost always choose drawing traditionally still, even to this day, because I just really love it. But there is something really nice with how messy I work, because I work this messy traditionally as well. But you get to a point where I can't keep adding layers to that. Like if I'm doing a commission and I have my initial sketch layer, and then I either jump to pencil or I jump right to ink, and then I'm jumping to color, I don't have that option with pencils and inks and markers to build up a layer like I would with paint, because they're not opaque. So I have to kind of live with the ones that I go with. Whereas with digital art, like if I feel like I'm starting to lose some of that energy, lose some of that oomph in my lines, I can, like Alex said, save all of my different sketch layers, go back and redraw that part again and try and recapture some of that. And if I was doing that traditionally, I'd have to either, get my light box out, or I'd have to just draw the sketch again. And then sometimes it's the like, oh no, I'm really attached to this sketch and now I don't like the next one that I did as much. A small bonus, I will say, to shockingly practicing and doing this more is I tend to feel a little bit more comfortable drawing a second sketch and feeling okay with it. And I think all of it, all of it comes back to not being precious with your work. And that is something that from my core, I can tell you I did not get when I was still a new artist. I had to make so much more art until I got to the point where I was ready to be like, nope, I can throw this away and start again, because that's going to be better for the piece. Because when you're learning and when you're still growing as an artist, it can be very hard when you nail it, but it's not exactly what you need. And you're just like, oh no, I've made the thing perfect. And now I can't make that fit to what I need it to. So it was a really big step for me to then be able to be like, nope, I can still keep the sketch and maybe do something else with it, but nope, I have to redraw it. I have to start again, or I have to ink again for this. But it took a really long time for me to get there. I did not start that way. I had to grow into that.
It does take a long time to get to that place, though, of like, you can just toss it and you can let go, guys. It's okay.
Never let go. Never let go. Also, Hebe and KCD, thank you. They said save your work.
Hell nah.
Oh yeah.
I will say I am the least amount of precious with all of my work.
Yeah, I feel like you're ready to just fully abandon it at any moment. And
Absolutely. I'm fully one of those, like, hey, if like your layer doesn't save and you lose it, it's like, well, that was just the universe telling you start over.
Yeah, that layer sucked. Try again.
Yep.
get good, loser. Love the universe.
Exactly.
I'm very like, I'm kind of cold to my students whenever they do that, like, because I'll tell them, I will remind them periodically through class, like, save your work. But like, I lecture it so much that like, I'll have a student come in and be like, so I lost everything that I was working on. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. Do it again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, why didn't you save it in 3 different spots? Like I tell you, like, you have a flash drive, you have a cloud drive through the school, and then save it somewhere else too. So you have 3 instances of it. And if you lose one, you got backups. And then you got a backup of backup if you lose them both.
Yep.
I'm just like, I've told you this many times, and now here you are trying to ask for more time because you quote unquote lost all your work, or did you just not do the work and you want more time to do it?
See, I think that's absolutely fair. I don't think that's like cold at all. I think that's exactly right. And if you haven't had the experience of echoing terribly, and I don't know where. But yeah, if you haven't had the experience of like just doing your work in 5 minutes, turning in something shitty, getting a really bad critique, and then being like, well, now I've learned my lesson, then, have you really learned anything?
No, I think because of the way that school was for me and the way I looked at things, like getting good grades was so important to me. And so the idea of failing like that, it was very, very hard. And the concept of, having all my work crash and having something get lost and then just having to turn in something that I wasn't proud of, that wasn't perfect, like that was very, very challenging for 19-year-old Swan. But as I got older and as I had more bad things happen to my projects, there is value in being able to recreate something. And I'll say a lot of what I do is design. I'm not working on a 300-hour painting. That's a very different thing. But for the animation or for the illustration or the comics that I make, like some of this stuff, I was like, oh no, I could be a couple hours into it. But I was like, but what can I now take, since I've already done it and my brain already knows it and my body already knows it? How can I push through and at least show what I was working on, to kind of get at least that part of the point across? And unfortunately, possibly still live with the consequences of not turning in something that I'm proud of, but how can I still make this work? yeah, that's again, these were not things that early 20-year-old Swan could do. These are things that 30 plus Swan can do.
Yep. But like that's, I mean, I'm probably sounding like an asshole the whole time I'm talking here, just because I'm like, yeah, fuck it, turn in your work late, whatever. But I think again, like it's a super valuable thing to be able to kind of do that, because I just remember I've jumped ship. I work in corporate America. That's why I joke about it. But there was a presentation that I did once where I was told a couple hours ahead of time I would suddenly be presenting to our clients and our boss and a whole bunch of kind of like really important people. And I remember just being able to pull it out of my ass because of art school. And I was presenting with somebody. So my part of the presentation, like I got up there and I said, oh yeah, I'll go first. I don't care. I got up there and like did the whole thing. And like, you know, it probably wasn't my greatest work, but like, you know, what did I know? What could I pull together? What could I present? What could I put up on the board that people could look at? And then I remember the guy that I presented after me, it was a train wreck. And I was like, oh, well, did you like panic, like do all this stuff and like prepare yourself and like kind of figure out what you could show and what you couldn't show? And like he was like, I don't know, they just told me like an hour ahead of time and then I didn't know. I'm like, oh, how's your business major treating you? Going well? So, you know, it's fun. It's fun. Yay, art school.
I say, as someone who only went to art school, like I would love to know what the other majors would be like if they had to experience like the critiques that we went through. Because I was like, boy, there is something really special about putting up a piece of artwork and having 30 students and the teacher just tell you everything that they like or dislike about it. I was like, that takes a lot to kind of live through. And I was like, I feel like if some of the business majors or, you know, other majors had to go through that, I
don't think they'd do it.
Oh, no.
I don't think
because who would do that? What maniac would do that?
I mean, genuinely, like, what maniac? I have got to change the tone on this. Yeah, it's an experience for sure. And it's weird to be like, I really love critique and I really miss critique. And I wish that I could sit down with all of my friends and have these conversations again.
Yep.
And yet.
Well, and I think it's I forget how we got on it, but I know we have talked about this before, but it is also the being able to kind of suss out where valuable critique comes from and where trolling comes from. Mm-hmm. And it's why having like a good group of people who you can go to and say like, hey, I think this is good, but maybe I'm missing something, and, you know, have other eyes on it who aren't just going to be like, well, yeah, but I draw this better than you do. Like, great, that's not helpful. Okay, thanks. Or, you know, people are like, hey, there's a weird tangent here, or like when you did this, like it's kind of looking like that. Like, there's a lot of value in that, and that's why I think I prefer to get that kind of feedback and critique from a closer group of friends before I would just post something out online to have anybody comment on it. Like I want the people that I've already vetted and I can trust, you know, to give me actual positive, not just good comments, but constructive criticism back.
Yeah. We did talk about that recently. I have no idea where.
Right? Okay. So it's like, I think you were there. It might have been Art Corner. Who knows? There's no way to know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Especially in the kind of digital world where we are now, it's so easy. It's so easy to get critique, and like just being able to really, that's been a learning curve. This is a weird tangent, so I'm going to just apologize. But this has been a learning curve for me, specifically with doing like a lot of the TTRPG shows that we do. Because like I don't have, or I didn't have like the inherent knowledge of it. So I didn't understand why people, when you post something, would be like, well, actually you should have used this, 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 and this. And I'd be like, well, why? Like trying to learn, right? And there's no why. They're just some dude that thinks you should be using a different system because they're the expert and they say so. And like, it was just another learning curve of like, find the people that actually know what they're talking about to talk you through it. Don't ask people why that don't know what they're talking about, because they don't have a good answer. And they're just saying it to be a dick, guys. Just saying it to be a dick.
Sometimes they're just an asshole.
Sometimes you just don't have to listen.
Yeah, I think, it's one of those interesting things about teaching kids who have now only ever grown up in a social media world. And so art to them is very much content. And I don't say that with any like malice or negativity of it. It is just like, no, this is kind of, it has become a consumer thing because that's how content is. But I think it has also, it's so important to me to keep reminding them, when you see people who do these gorgeous like sketchbook tours, and I was like, it's okay if every page of your sketchbook isn't good. It's okay if it's not this curated, beautiful thing that you made. Like, you are learning. You get to learn in any way. You get to follow that and keep with it. And that doesn't have to be for public consumption. It's okay. If you want to post your stuff because you're proud of it, that's great. If you want to then take it down 2 weeks later because you're no longer proud of it, that's also okay. Or if you want to keep it to yourself and not show, the general public, that's fine too. And, those are the times where I'm like, I know I'm going to say this a ton of times in class, but I just want to keep reminding you, like, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to, not everything has to be a post. Not everything has to be content. You're allowed to learn and fail in private, and then, feel better about what you do end up sharing with the world.
That's an awesome lesson.
I try. I think sometimes they hear me. And then sometimes they're just like, wait, what, Miss Emily? I'm like, never mind. Sometimes Miss Emily just talks to make sound. Sorry, Geoff, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm sorry, I was too busy posting this to listen. I don't know what
Yeah.
I got 80 comments on my Insta post. They probably don't use Instagram. I probably just sounded like a stupid old person just now.
Mm-hmm.
Can't keep up with these teens.
I can't. I don't want to either. Okay. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I got absolutely roasted by, oh God, I think they were like 13 at the time, but not even an artist, just a friend's kid. And he's like, yeah, I've got like 600, 700 followers on Instagram. And I'm just like, oh my God. He's like, what? How many do you have? And I was like
Yes.
400. I was like, what do you post? He's like, just pictures of my stuff and like my life and everything. Like, I'm like, okay. I just need to go lay on the floor now for a while. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
I would have been like, hey, do you do social media management? Would you like to?
Any tips?
Yeah. Hey, if I make you like my business profile manager, could you just like get me some more followers? Weaponize the children. That's the lesson.
Yes. And it all comes back to Animorphs.
Damn it, Emily. This is why no one talks to me.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I have made some interesting decisions with the anatomy and this hand, but that's okay.
I mean, haven't we all today? Haven't we all made decisions that we're not proud of today, but are just going to stand by? You might call a bad decision. I call a Tuesday.
Okay. There were other things in chat that I was just glossing over because it was on a tangent. Let's see. Also, yes, I love the just burn it. The universe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Alex uses negative space a lot. I love that. I also love that.
Yeah, if there's one thing I'm about, it's negativity.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Sounded like you had a point for a second there.
No, you had me going in the first half. Yes, KCD, I agree. I would love for every non-artist to go to art school for a few weeks. And it's like, this is not part of it is, yes, like the schadenfreude of it is a thing. But it's also I just would like you to understand. that's really, it is the being able to put yourself in somebody else's experience. Much like, I'm like, no, I can't imagine going to a school that had, that was more than 5,000 people. Like some of the schools that have 30,000 people and have a huge like sports element and team spirit element to it. I was like, I can't imagine that. I would love to go and experience that because I just never did. But yeah, like just for a couple of weeks, just come to the madhouse that is art school and just exist here for a little bit, and then we'll let you out.
I think we should have like a take your business accounting friend to work day kind of an exchange program. Like I'll also go to business school and go, like, maybe I want to know about businessing.
Yeah.
I'll learn your shit. You learn my shit. We'll do an exchange program.
Yeah, I like that. So, business friends, hit us up. Yeah. Bring us to work with you. We'll definitely behave.
I bet I could figure out accounting in 10 minutes flat.
It's just numbers.
It's just Excel.
I do like Excel. Oh, Geoff, I don't think I sent it to you. I sent it to some of the other people, but there was a insane artist who was making like painterly art in Excel or Google Sheets, and I was just like, what?
You must be a demon.
That's not how that works. How did you do that?
Yeah. My wife works in Excel, and I just look at it like, I hate this.
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah, trade school. We're told our work is shit, and to do better, our house is literally burned down. Yep.
I mean, us too, but they're lying to us. They're not lying to the trade school people.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when I used to pull wires with my dad for electrical, I was like, oh no, there is a genuine concern. If you do this wrong, I could burn a house down. So maybe let's not do that. All right, and question from Austin. CZ drop. I'm sure you've all already answered this. I added a word. You've all answered this before, but please, what do you all use to draw? So
my hands.
My hands. Don't take my hands. So for Doodle Crew streams, I am working on a desktop PC, and I have a Wacom drawing tablet. It is one of the tablets that has the screen, so I draw directly onto the screen and work in that. And I'm working in Clip Studio Paint, which I super, super love. I switched over to that a few years ago. And aside from one or two things, have never missed any part of Adobe products. I really, really like it for illustration. It serves all of the needs for illustration and comics and even logo design that I need. If I'm working in Vector, I work in CorelDRAW because of I called it point and click graphic design because I was doing a lot of like school logos and sports logos, which are very much mascot with text around it. That is a very really simplified stripped down program that works great for, I think, commercial art. And so I am very comfortable working in that over something like Illustrator. And then when I am not at my main computer, I work on an iPad using Procreate. That's me.
Great answer.
Also, I'm very curious about the answer to this from Alex's end because it is what I'm going to get to do in a couple of weeks.
Oh, God. Man, I was going to totally cheat and not say my stuff that I'm using right now and be like, well, normally when I do art, I use this wild stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can lie. You can say whatever you like.
I mean, I wasn't going to lie. I was just going to say if I'm sitting down to do art and it's something that like I'm doing for like somebody said, oh, can you do a painting for me in your style? I like what you do, which is not something that happens too often for me anymore. But I will use many different paints and just play with not screw myself over with the combinations of oils and acrylics and watercolor. But no, for digital, yeah, just Huion tablets. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what I use. Where you draw again, like Emily, directly on it. I do have Adobe products, but I am in no way committed to those, and am just creeping on a bunch of the threads, waiting for the person to say, "This is the absolute best program that I love, and I will only use this forever." And then I'm going to steal that, and I'm going to use that forever and claim it was my idea. That's not true. I won't do that part, but I will grab it. Because that sounds like a smart move, guys. Moving away from this nonsense.
Well, I think as Adobe continues to be absolute hot garbage with their policy right now, I think there's a lot of conversation in the art spaces about alternatives. So if anyone in the audience listening, if you are thinking about getting into art, or you are in art and you're thinking of moving away from Adobe products, it is a good time to scope out the alternatives.
Yep.
And
so I'm just waiting for somebody in that audience to do that exact thing for me so I can jump on their train. Okay, I will admit I'm one of the people that like is research exhausted in certain things. So I'm like, this is not something that like, you know, I do these like some of these art streams and stuff, but it's not my livelihood. So I can stand to set it aside for 3 weeks and not touch it until somebody finds the better thing. And then I can steal your hard work. I hope everybody's happy about that. Yeah, this is a great time to ditch Adobe products. And I will be doing so soon as I know where we're moving.
I, like Emily, use Clip Studio Paint because I think it's the best. I've been working in it for many years now, since it was Manga Studio. The brush engine is fantastic as far as inking goes. It's got lots of cool stuff. There's a guy that lives near me. His name is Friendon. He sells his brushes online, and they changed the game for me, even when I was still using Photoshop. Nobody likes drawing in Photoshop. It sucks. That's what I tell all my students. And they're like, but it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not. But yeah, I used to hate drawing digitally. I used to do everything just by hand, and I used to scan it in, and then I would clean it all up in Flash, of all things, because I was one of those weirdos that liked Flash. I still like Animate. I think it's a great program. I think it gets a really bad name. I know, boo Adobe, but at the same time, you know, it was my bread and butter for a very long time. And then I started drawing in this, and I really have not looked back. I will tell anybody that wants to listen that, you know, if you want to get into drawing and you want a digital program, it's not that expensive. I haven't had to buy it in a long time, so I couldn't tell you if they changed that policy like most places have.
They had, so when I got it, yeah, I'm in Clip Studio Paint Pro. I bought it. They were running a sale at the time. The program was usually $50. I got it for $25, which is awesome. I think they had, I will admit, I have not looked into this specific thing recently, but they had looked at and talked about moving to the subscription program like so many do, which broke my heart because I'm like, no, I just want to buy it and I want to own it and I just want to have that. So I don't know, with all the negative feedback they got from that, if that changed, if there's still a version you can purchase.
Yeah, so what it is if you can buy the single license, like, you know, I have and a lot of other people have. You just won't get the 0.01 updates like they push. You won't get any of those. But if you have the subscription, you'll get all their updates and whatever. My version works perfectly, and if they were to update it, would probably screw it up, so I'm good.
Yep.
Like, so I don't need any of that. But if you're one of those people who needs like everything up to date and the new thing or whatever, then you might want to go with their prescription model. But I just thought it was a waste, and I know that they did. Originally, it was just going to be, no, you have to do the subscription model. But with all that negative feedback, I think they were just like, oh, well, no, you can still buy a one-time license, but you just won't get all these updates.
Which, like you said, I think it's very much dependent on the type of art you make and what your needs are from the program. I'm much the same. After I bought it years ago, I have not had a time where I so desperately needed the newest version or the updates to do what I do. And I understand that with a lot of design companies and everything, when they bring on a lot of staff for a project, being able to buy a whole bunch of licenses and then, only keep certain ones, like there is absolutely a space for that. I just don't want to see that be the only option because there are so many solo artists who do not have the company umbrella and like, no, I just want to buy a program and have it and then leave me alone. Leave me alone in my hole to do my art, please.
I'm also using a Wacom 22 inch. At work, we use XP Pen, which is just as good and much cheaper. So if I'm mobile and I have my Alienware laptop that I've been given from work, I will use I also have a 13-inch XP Pen portable tablet that I hook up to it and it works fantastic. So those are things that I use, and that's about it really. Like if I have to animate, it'll be either Toon Boom or Animate. Those are both industry standard, and I still have an Adobe license as well because a lot of times companies that will hire freelancers require stuff like that. So I have to have a personal license as well as my license through school. So I can't just dump it like I'd like to. My question though, for this whole Adobe fiasco, with them saying that they have access to your whatever, don't you have to just save to their cloud in order for them to have access to your art?
I don't know. You have to be connected to the internet to be able to use it in the first place. So I don't know what sort of background stuff is happening.
Right.
I feel like previously, yes. I don't know
Anymore.
Again, I don't know anymore. But something that I thought, and I love the way you phrase this, Alex, because it's like the words that I had been looking for, but it's the like research fatigue on this. Whereas like I get to a certain point where I was like, and also I, with some of this stuff, it makes me so sad that if I continue down this path, I will be too sad and I will just need to lay on the floor and I will not be able to feed or bathe myself. So I have to stop and put, close the screen and walk away. But a point that was brought up that I'm very curious to see, it's a weird, like, you're playing that one magic card that's going to actually like damage everybody at the table, including you, but it could be for the best. And it's all of the artists who are under NDA contracts who work for like Disney.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, if Adobe just has access to that, like I cannot see a company that is so litigious as Disney is just being fine with anybody at Adobe being like, you know what, this new animated project isn't out yet, but I just want to borrow this artwork to train the AI. Like, I feel like if anybody's going to motivate specific legal change on it, it's going to be something like Disney, and it's because they're going to want to protect their property. I'm, the tiny little hope thing that's coming out of the last of the Pandora's Box of Horrors is like, I hope that means, that there will be some benefit for the solo artists who this was also hurting, and it's not just, Disney saves themselves and everybody else dies. But I was like, no, I feel like if you really want to have conversation and change on that, it's going to be between, the two kaiju that is Adobe and Disney.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it is. Wasn't this is going to be a question for you guys because I'm vaguely remembering from stuff Casey has told me many years ago. Wasn't there a thing like with Disney back in the day when they were at like the height of their animation thing that even if you use like their pencils that technically fell under their ownership, like if you even if you're drawing like at home in your spare time, if you used any of their belongings, they would be like, actually, we own that. Or is that like a myth, a
Yeah,
Disney myth?
I'm gonna call BS on that. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that to the rumor mill because I really don't think that's. But how do they know?
Well, I don't know. Disney can steal away into your home in the night, I assume.
I know it was definitely like you were not able to like publish your own projects depending on your contract with them. So I know that for a while, like it was, if you had been in development in an idea in the time where you were under contract with them, then that kind of became theirs. I think there is I don't want to say common sense, but kind of a line of like, yeah, if you're doing it on company hours in the company building with the company resources, okay, I can kind of see that. If you're at home working on your own stuff and you don't do anything with it until your contract is ended, like that's one where I get to the point where I was like, how are you actually going to prove that in court? Like if you didn't post anything online, if you didn't, if it hadn't gone to publish before your contract ended, like how would they actually know, and how worth it is it to, fight that? But
right. I just never know with Disney, man. And also, like, I don't assume that the people have common sense. Like I've worked in an office for long enough now that I think that there's probably people that were like, yeah, of course I draw this at work on my lunch break in the studio under guard where they can see and my manager's watching every move I do. Just don't know.
Okay, so catching up. Boop, 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 boop. Red Colt's Revolt. Thanks. Just catching a live stream. Happy welcome. We are doing art and music, an art style with a musician and band is the theme for today. Sorry, I'm catching up. Casey, you're saying all amazing stuff, so I'm slowly catching up on all of that. Says all this art is fire so far. I absolutely agree. That's really cool. I'm very, very happy with all of it. Affinity is still running their 50% off sale. And yes, because Casey wrote, I like full Crash for animating too. Flash was my big program in college. Looking back now, a lot of what I was doing with the vector part of that and the smoothing and all of that is what I get from the brushes in Clip Studio. It was just, I hadn't fully, I didn't know Manga Studio at the time, but it was so much easier to illustrate in for me than Photoshop ever was. And yes, I think Clip Studio has, it's a low bar, but I think they have been a lot better about listening to the feedback and actually attempting to make change because of that, which is, hey, I'll take something. And then she was saying they have software that scans your local drive for pirated copies in regards to Adobe. So no, I don't often trust them. Yeah, I got trust issues now as I've gotten older.
I don't think in this day and age with the technology that's out there that is an unwarranted thing to have.
Yeah. Every time the only line that will play in my head is the Feather Duster talking to Lumiere, where she says, "I've been burnt by you before." And that is how I feel about Adobe. So, also, what's up, Cruggles? Hello.
Cruggles!
I've been burnt by you before. That's as much as I can do. That's my accent. I don't do accents. If you ever watch me playing D&D, I don't do accents because I am not good at them. That's not true. I have one accent that nope, I lied. I have two. I can parrot Austin, which is Louisville, back to him. I can do Louisville when I'm repeating it, and I can do digital assistant computer voice, which I don't think technically is an accent, but those are the only two that I can do.
I think it's an accent. You could probably do transatlantic as well. It's really easy.
I would have to practice that one because I feel like a level of confidence that you have to have with that one, and I'm not quite there yet. But yes, yeah, I could probably sneak in a transatlantic.
I believe in you.
Yes, it's whoa.
Oh. Oh no, immediately screwing up on trying to say Louisville.
It didn't say Louisville, so I feel like I did okay.
Yeah, I would have not that long ago.
Well, spoiler for CZ Drop, I still have to say Louisville in my brain when I address letters to Austin, because if I just say Louisville, I will not spell it correctly. So, I'm sorry.
Emily, I'm not sure he'd notice if you did spell it incorrectly. I'm just gonna. Sorry, Austin. You're not even here, and I'm bullying you.
Yeah, if anybody would like to see Austin get back at us, you can join us tomorrow night on his Twitch channel, where he will be on mic and actually able to defend himself.
Actually, yeah.
From the piranhas that are Alex and I.
Yeah, we're not nice to him.
Which is unfair because he's one of the nicest humans I've ever met. And
genuinely.
Yeah, just that makes me want to be mean, and I don't know what it is. It's when you see an adorable, cute thing and you just want to like crush it. Like that's where this is.
It's the cute aggression, is what it is. We're here to destroy. Oh, poor guy. Well, he could choose to have different friends, so we can just blame the victim if we want.
Wow.
Jeff's gonna leave.
Yeah, Jeff's like, I hate Emily. Who the hell did you bring on here? They're awful.
I just wanted to come and draw, guys. Like,
just wanted to have a good time, have a nice conversation. Instead, there's this unhinged weirdo on here. It's fair.
I feel like if we've gotten to season 4 of Doodle Crew and y'all didn't know that we were unhinged, then surprise! We've been this way since the beginning. Casey just said, Jeff, wow. It's good. Now, so I have had the absolute pleasure of drawing in person with Jeff on Comic-Con panels and everything, and without fail, like, his reactions are some of my absolute favorite, and I love it so freaking much. So I'm here for all of it.
So good.
I sent him a message recently where I was just like, all of these things tie into my ultimate plan, which is to just make more art with you. So everything is really going my way, and I'm very happy about it.
It's delightful. What a delightful message to receive.
It is. Very nice.
No, I am so grateful, one, that I had a crazy idea and all my art friends are like, well, we've never done it, but we'll try along with me. But I am so happy with what Doodle Crew lets me do and hang out with my friends and talk about art and just get to make with other incredible artists. Like it's the best.
Delightful.
Okay, Redcoats Revolt asks, do any of you trust GIMP as an alternative to Photoshop? And I just want to say GNU, which is not how it's said, but image manipulation program. One, I think the name is hilarious. I always have, because I'm a child. I have not used it very much. I am aware of it. I think I played around with it a tiny bit, but I was not giving it a genuine effort. So I have not gone beyond that. I messed around in Krita a little bit, Krita, which is a free program, which I liked. It is similar to Clip Studio. The brush library and the pencil library is not nearly as robust, or at least to the point that I had been using it. I think you could probably install ones, but it was just not quite enough Clip Studio for me. And because I like Clip Studio so much, I didn't feel the need to explore it more, but I was teaching a student who didn't want to purchase a program. So there was still a lot you could do in it. And with a lot of these, I'll say, and this is an aspirational thing I'm going to say now, because it's a thing I should do that I never do, is most programs have the ability for you to set shortcuts and hotkeys and different auto actions. And there's tons of YouTube tutorials about how to do it. So what I ran into issues with Krita is I didn't know the shortcuts. And so like I would go to want to get the selection tool and I would hit M because that's the selection tool in one of the programs I use. And it wasn't that. So I had to go and then find it. And if I had just taken the time to either set them to the shortcuts that I knew or learn where stuff was, I could have worked at the same speed that I normally do, which is what I was missing. But I didn't. So I still hate the fact that in CorelDRAW, to get the text tool, you have to hit F8. Doesn't make any sense. I should be able to hit T. Have I, in the 15 years I've worked in the program, ever reset the hotkey to that? Absolutely not. But I think about it every time I go to do text. So, I think that answered the question. Redcoats, I hope that answered the question. I tried.
It sounded great.
Good.
That's gonna listen in the clips later. That's gonna translate so well.
Oh, so this is. I'm sorry. We're coming back to Austin. A beautiful thing about it is, I feel like, given the opportunity, Austin could clip any of this stuff that he wanted and just absolutely roast us for the stupid shit that falls out of my face and all these things. So if you want revenge before tomorrow, you can. Also, what up, Songheart? Hello.
Hey, Songheart. What am I doing with my life?
So, Geoff, have you used GIMP at all?
No, and it's probably because of the name. Because the only thing I can think of when I hear GIMP is Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'm not very exploratory as an artist. Like, I find a tool that I like, and I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm good. I've never used Procreate. I've never used like stuff like that. Like lots of people are like, oh, you got to use well, I'm good. Yeah. Unless I'm forced to for work or for a job, like I've got my tool set and I'm good with it.
No, legit. The reason I learned Procreate is because I got asked to teach it. They're like, well, you do digital art. You know it, right? And I was like, I have done a lot of digital art. I have never worked in this program. Hopefully it runs like other ones do.
The only reason I know Figma is because I had a job where I had to use it.
Yep. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And genuinely, going back to the research fatigue and all of that, it's why I trust my artist friends when they talk about stuff. I was like, hey, all of you who spent time in other programs and done other stuff, what do you think? What do you like? What do you not like? Like, if you've already gone through all of that, then I don't feel I also need to. Tangent that right into his face. Cool. So, Casey says, I did hear someone disparage GIMP in favor of Krita recently, but take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. I'll say, in a weird way, the upside is I've never heard anything so negative that has made me be like, oh my gosh, I'll never touch that program. I don't think that's the great basis for it, but at least, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's the worst. And Kruggles, I would love to. So we are taking a art style and drawing a artist or musician in that style. So I am doing Art Nouveau style, which is specifically Alphonse Mucha, which is my favorite. And I am drawing the lead singer of the band Rammstein, which is German heavy metal.
I feel like I should throw Geoff under the bus because I did it first last time.
I picked Cubism and I'm doing Stone Temple Pilots, although I'm not sure either one of them is really working out for me. But
it looks cool.
It is what it is.
You know what it's giving me is the... Oh, okay. So, I'm sorry. This is... You know what? You've known me long enough. This isn't weird for our conversations. So, in the 60s and 70s, there was very specific advertising artwork that always showed up at like public pools and YMCA and that type of stuff. And it was this weird like version of Cubism and kind of like very graphic art stuff, but it was always of like people playing the sports at the place that they were at. And that's what it's reminding me of. And I was so mad because our high school had art on the wall of that for a while. And then when they wanted to refresh it and everything, they painted over all of it. And I was like, but I really liked that art. So yeah, not spot on for the thing, but I think it looks amazing. So yeah, here's my commentary on it.
I like that. I know exactly what you're talking about, Emily. Like I can see it in my mind's eye.
I appreciate that. I know, I'm sure it's got a name. I just don't remember it. But it was that very specific. Like it was always like 60s, 70s, and it was always in like places of recreation.
Yes.
Or I would say maybe even some like album art kind of lived in that. So what we do is when we post it, we just say that, no, this is the style that Geoff was going with. And
That's what I was going for to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously. Get it together, people. Yeah. What am I doing? That's a great question with my life. I am doing Renaissance, Chiaroscuro specifically stuff, sorta, kinda. Listen, I'm failing upwards and I'm doing Noah Kahan, and that's all we need to know about today.
Depression was mentioned at the top of the show, so
Yeah, specifically. Well, depressing music, folk music, kind of. Listen, he's got a lot of popular songs right now, doing a lot of stuff. Things are going great for him. Songs resonate with a lot of people, and I'm sorry to all of you. Anyone who came in here today was like, oh yeah, Noah Kahan, I love him. I'm sorry. You're going through it, bud.
hey, sometimes you just need to find that vibe in music. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to this again because it didn't hurt me enough the first time and I really want to feel it this next listen.
Oh my God. So I had we do this thing on some of our D&D shows where we have character playlists, and we sometimes we'll do Patreon content where we go through some of those songs and like kind of talk about like, what's this? We got on to do that recently, and I guess one of my co-hosts here, Nate, hadn't quite listened to my playlist before, and he goes, you just have a lot of really sad bangers on this list. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of all my playlists, honestly, are just really kind of sad bangers, I guess.
I mean, much like I have an undying love of heavy metal bands covering pop songs, I also I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, it's so good.
I also love like a really, really like sad sounding song that's got like super upbeat and positive lyrics, or the converse of like a happy as shit sounding song that is like, oh wow, that's so dark.
Oh my God. I'm going to blank. I'm looking it up right now because I'm going to blank on their name. Because Emily, there's one, I'm positive you're chronically online just like me. I'm sure you've heard it, and we're going to talk about it in just a second. I swear.
I love it so much.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, there's a moment during a recording recently where Alex and I both went off on the same internet thing, and some of the members of it just kind of looked at us. I was like, what, are you not chronically online and your brain completely just rotted from all of this?
Exactly. Okay. Underground by Cody Fry.
Yes.
Just a song about getting hit by a train. Just a nice, beautiful, operatic song about just getting hit by a train, guys. It's no big deal.
It's no big deal.
MBD.
Yes, Red Coat's perfect example. The Pumped Up Kicks.
Yes.
That song is a bop.
So dark.
So dark. So dark. Also, thank you, Red Coats Revolt. Yeah, Till Lindemann. I was saying at the top, the one concert I got to see Rammstein perform, he had the suit that's strapped into with the huge angel wings that all shot pyrotechnics, and it was freaking rad. I was so happy I got to see them because we'll say they're getting a little bit older and they don't come to the States a whole bunch. So, and yeah, Alex said, I knew it was Ren style without you even saying it. So
that's because Krugs is being really kind to me right now. That's what I'm going to say.
I think you are killing it. It's also, I am so impressed because that color palette, when I work in it, gets so muddy and messy and looks like nothing so fast. And so I live in fear of painting in like that area, especially painting on black. And I'm just like, no, I can't do it. It's just going to turn to soup. So the fact that you are navigating that so well is incredible to me.
Okay, but to, like, for like just art talk for one moment though, I have like you have a very you have an awesome mastery of color and the way of using color and brightness and bringing that all into your work and celebrating that and finding those various extremes. I live in painting. I think like if you sent me into the woods and you're like, you only have charcoal and sticks to paint, I think I'd be completely content for the rest of my life. If I could work only in muted, dark, really muddy colors, I'd be perfectly happy forever. So I think that's maybe just a different like stylistic sort of approach happening there.
Yeah.
I think someone should slap colors from my hand and say, you're not ready for that yet. Like, okay, if you guys have ever read Julie Andrews, her first autobiography, she talks about how her first singing teacher made her learn all of the concepts of music without singing words because she figured the words would be what got to her. She was such a sensitive child and everything like that. I'm at the point where I just need to learn the concepts of dark and light arts, and colors should not be given to me yet. I'm not prepared emotionally or physically to take on that challenge. There's a really weird comparison for you today.
I love it. Also, was that just a texture layer that you popped on top, Geoff, or was that a brush?
2 texture layers so far.
Yeah, that looked really cool. I like it. Now is this is my stupidity is this from a specific reference image of them?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because it's so fun. Gurgles also says, no, it looks like an oil painting. You should know by now I am not that kind. I love it. Also, I think I have, Casey, heard Bardcore version of it. I don't know if it's by that specific one. I do listen to a fair amount of Bardcore because it delights me. So yes, it's very much along the lines of like, let us take this melody that you know pretty well and just put it in a totally different genre, and now it's a party.
I love that. There's something so delightful about all of that. I zoom out. This will look all right.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to work on the shirt. My favorite thing.
Fabric folds.
I just remember that one art corner we did where you're like, we were drawing late starters in fancy dress, and I drew chonks, and I was like, hey, I spent 10 minutes drawing Charmander. I'm going to spend an hour and a half drawing Ruffles.
Oh my god, but those Ruffles though. Like, because I would look down at my stuff and look back up, and like the highly rendered nature of them, I was like, holy shit.
It looks so stupid next to the fucking 5-minute Charmander.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
It's horrible. But, you know, do what you love.
Wish I loved looking up reference for this hand, because I need to do that right now, and I'm just not. I'm just making it up.
Just use your own hand.
So like that I just halfway did not finish part of this outfit.
Seems fine.
It's all fine. So Geoff, because I'm going to say, for those of us who do not work quite as fast, there's at least 20 more minutes of work, so I will just keep asking you questions so that I don't lose you. Because you get your work done on time. But have you gotten to see Stone Temple Pilots in concert before?
Twice. 3 times. 3 times.
Nice.
Before Wyland died. So the original lineup, 3 times.
Very, very nice.
Once in Binghamton, once in Syracuse, and once here in Pittsburgh. The time we saw them in Binghamton, so we saw them twice on the Tiny Music tour, which is also how I saw Cheap Trick twice because I opened for them.
Fun.
The second, so the cool thing about that tour is in the middle of their concert, a giant platform would lower from the ceiling, and it had like a bunch of pillows and stuff. So they do an acoustic set in the middle of their thing.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Oh, it was amazing. But so the second, when we saw them in Binghamton, and Binghamton's crowd is always kind of weird.
Yep.
They're much more metal than anything else. So during Cheap Trick's set, they were doing a song, and the guy, the singer, and I can't remember who he is. He said the song's special to us, blah blah blah, and it was basically just him and another guy on stage doing it, and somebody hit him in the face with a shoe, which prompted them to end their set early. So Stone Temple Pilots came out, and they were doing their normal set perfectly fine, and then during the acoustic set, someone hit Wyland in the face with a tape. It looked like a cassette tape someone had thrown up there.
Oh my god.
So they stopped the acoustic set early, and then they came back out and proceeded to play Ministry. They did a cover of New World Order by Ministry, which was really weird to see. I was like, I know this song, but I don't recognize it. And my friend was like, it's Ministry. I was like, oh my god. Because they were mad. They were mad at the crowd. And then the show here in Pittsburgh was during one of the, this is back in very early 2000. I think it was in 2000, where festival shows were still kind of like a big thing. And we had X Fest here because the local radio channel used to be an alternative hard rock channel. They put on X Fest, so we saw a whole bunch of bands that day. The band that went on before them, though, was Everclear, and this was also my third time seeing them. And Everclear is a very hit or miss band; like they're either on or they're not. And earlier in the day, the singer for them got into a fight with one of the local DJs on the channel. So word had gotten through the crowd that he was being a jerk. So they came out and they were not well received. Also, it was the first time that he had fired the other 2 guys in the band and had brought in like 5 other guys. It was really weird because Everclear is notorious for being like a 3-man band. And he just had this overinflated ego at the time and got rid of the other 2 founding members and hired a whole bunch of guys. Like there were like 7 guys on stage. It was kind of weird. And so they were not being well received. So he started yelling at the crowd. He's like, oh, I guess we'll just walk off stage and let Stone Temple Pilots come out to finish the show. And everybody cheered so loud that's exactly what they did. They walked off stage after about 5 songs, and then STP came out and they saved the rest of the show. But it was so weird. I've been to some weird concert things go on. But yeah, I saw Everclear a few years later when they reduced back down to like 3 guys, and they were really good in Elmira. I saw them at Elmira College, and they were really good that show. And it's weird. It's the same deal with Rob Zombie. Like you see him, he's either on or he's not. Luckily, I saw White Zombie once, and then I've seen him 3 times solo, and 2 of the times he's been really good. The last time I saw him was boring, just absolutely boring.
Wow.
And I think it's because of the band that he had with him. Like he had the original band that he has, which he almost has again now, was the guitarist and the bassist with Blasco and Riggs, and then he had John Tempesta from White Zombie in his band for the first 2 albums, and then after that he hired some other guys. And John Five, who's like a really really good guitarist, like amazing guitarist, who's now in Motley Crue. He left, so I was like online. I was like, all right, get Riggs back in the band, and that's exactly what they did. And then I was like, okay, now get Blasco back in the band. And then the next thing I read is Rob Zombie's bassist quits, and they bring him back in. So now that's who he's touring with for this summer. And I keep looking at tickets because he's touring with Alice Cooper and Ministry and Filter. And I'm like, I'd love to go to that show, but it's 2 days after the Green Day show that I'm going to. And I know I'm going to be tired. So, because it's also like the second week of school.
Oh
so
my gosh.
Like, I don't think I can do that. But so, and like the next week I'm seeing Megadeth. So it's like, I think I have to not go to that.
This is how, you've gotten to a certain age as a concert goer where I was just like, physically, I don't think I can do this. Mm-hmm. I was talking to students the other day because they were asking about music came up somehow. And I was doing the panic thing. I was like, okay, so you guys say you like classic rock. Like, what does that mean to you? And just like mentally preparing myself to get really, really hurt. But they surprised me. I had a bunch of them like, oh, I really like Boston. I was like, oh, wow, I would actually.
It's the same. It's the same Friday night.
Okay, cool. But we were talking about Green Day and stuff like that. And I was saying, some of the concerts I really loved going to were the like big metal fest, like Uproar and stuff. But I was like, that's an all day thing. Like you start at like 10 or 11 in the morning and there's just bands on different stages and you just go and it goes into like 11 at night. And I was like, I was tired then. I was like, there's no way. And you can't leave the park and go out. So you have to eat the food in there and the water in there and everything. And it's just like, you're out in the sun if you're not under the cover. And I was just like, I don't think I can do that anymore. As much as I like, and would love to see some of these bands. I was like, physically, I just don't think I can do it.
Yeah, I went to Lollapalooza in '96, and I just have no idea how I did it, honestly, because we got there when gates opened. Like we were there before gates opened. We were probably like fourth or fifth in line at the gate. We got in, and we didn't like. We left after, obviously, like that. So that was one of the biggest shows. And I don't know if anybody's watched it yet, but there's a Lollapalooza documentary on Paramount Plus. Ooh, I think.
Okay.
It's really good. It's only 3 episodes long, but it goes from like its inception to what it is today. Oh, but awesome. They gloss over the year that I went because that was '96, and that was the year that Metallica headlined. Because it's not alternative, right? They were just like, Metallica's not alternative. They shouldn't be here. But I was like, but it was also the year that Soundgarden played. It was one of the years that Soundgarden played, and I was like, and I saw Screaming Trees, and I saw Rancid and some other bands, and I'm just like, you guys just glossed. Like they obviously hit like the big years, the first year, and then the second year, which is when Pearl Jam blew up, and Soundgarden played that year too, and all that stuff. But I'm just like, that was like, Metallica played so long. I swear to God, I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning by the time we got back to the hotel.
Oh my God.
So like we were gone all day, and it was summer, and there was no rain, and that was in Syracuse on some fairgrounds, and it was just like ridiculous. And then one of the years I went to Ozfest, I remember the weeks following still peeling skin off the top of my head because I got so badly sunburned. This is when I had hair. Like I used to have hair, and I would put gel in my hair, so it's like literally like I'm picking like hardened flakes off of my head that was just my scalp peeling off. Oh my God. And I'm just like, I can't do that anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
Even one show standing was enough. And that was 10 years ago. I went and my friend and I went and saw Faith No More when they got back together and toured. We saw them in Detroit, and then we followed them and saw them in Toronto. And Detroit was standing room only, so that was like all general admission, so we had to be on the floor. And we left that, and we're just like, man, we're so old. My knees hurt, and my buddy was like, I'm so glad we have seats tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night. It was just so bad.
Yeah, I've never been great at standing. I have a lot of problems with my feet as it is, and shows are tough. And like it kills me for ones where there'll be like three acts at the local place that is all just flat. Like there's a upper section really close to the stage that you can buy extra, but then everything else is just lawn seating. And it will be like the first or second song of the first group, and everybody stands up, and I'm like, why though? Why? And, I'm not a tall person, so if I have any hope of seeing anything, I'm just like, yeah, I have to stand up, or and there are times if we did bring seats where I will just sit for a bit, because I was just like, I can't make it through another hour and a half of this. But yeah, it's old. And I've never been a mosh pit person. That's just never been me. So even at the big metal shows, like we would always get the seating behind that, but even then everybody would stand up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Last year I take my son now because he's 15 and he's into that same kind of music that I am. And last year I took him to see Pantera, and we had seats for that at Star Lake, and that was really nice. But I mean, obviously you stand for most of that anyway. But then the next concert we saw was it was Mudvayne and Cold Chamber and like a whole lot of like new metal bands. And I'd gotten lawn tickets because I was just like, tickets are way too expensive to get down below for these guys. I was like, he'll have the experience of having, lawn seats for a show, and he'll see how that goes. And we get there, and I was just in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to check and see if they have any upgrades available. And I start hearing people going, oh, they're going to upgrade tickets. I was like, oh. So we get in, and as soon as we process our tickets, the guy goes, go over to that table. He's going to upgrade your tickets. We're like, oh, cool. We had almost front row seats because they did not sell well enough that they didn't sell out the seat section at all. So we got, I think we were 8th row back or something, like right in front. And I was like, wow, I only bought lawn tickets on Groupon for $20. And here we are all the way up front.
That's fantastic.
And the cool thing about that is Guar was on. I did not warn him at all about Guar. And his face just dropped when they came out on stage and were doing what they do. And he was just like amazed by it. I was like, yep.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Guar. Well, no, when you said Cold Chamber too, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about Cold Chamber since college, I think.
Yeah, they were really good too. Like the drummer for that band was hurt and still was performing like he wasn't. Like you could see he was wearing like tape, like the tape that you use when your muscles are blown.
Yeah.
He, I guess, threw his shoulder out second city of the tour and just played the rest of the tour. And he had a guy behind him, like, handed him stuff whenever he needed it and stuff. But like he was drumming his face off. And I was like, dude, you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah, who is it? The first time I saw Dropkick Murphys, they were with Flogging Molly, and I saw them here locally, and it was when, was it the singer or was it the guitarist? See, now I can't remember. But one of them had just had like major spinal surgery. And so it was like, I can't turn my neck. I just have to turn my whole upper torso. And he's like, so I can't do some of the stuff that I normally do, but I'm just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I got very lucky. I went with friends to see Dropkick again. And we just happened, like I'm in Syracuse and just happened to like sneak through. So I was like second row standing. And it was one of the stages that was very, very close. And I was like, wow, this is the closest I've been to a show in like a really, really, really long time. And I felt bad because I'm like, I really like Dropkick, but I'm not a huge, huge fan. But I was like, it's very cool to be this close. I wish I knew more lyrics of your songs. Whoops. Sorry. But I'm gonna cheer along because you're going to talk about hockey and that's fun.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I lucked out a friend of mine, not a group that I had been familiar with before, but invited me, and then funny enough, he wasn't able to go, but I went and saw Necrogloblicon in Pittsburgh, but at the event place that it was at, it had like a whole lower pit area right by the stage, but then it had an upper balcony, and we got spots right on the balcony. So not only did I have like a great view of the band, but I also got to like lean on the railing the entire time. And so like nobody was in front of me. I had the best view. I didn't have to be in the pit, and I got to lean on something, so I didn't have to stand fully the whole time. I was like, this is perfect. and there's a guy in a goblin mask yelling at the audience, and I love it. Sorry, chat. I've been ignoring you again. Oh, yes, to Redcoat Revolt. I love Vitamin String Quartet and all of the like instrumental versions of pop songs. I love what Bridgerton did. There's a whole bunch of like string groups that do that. That's very, very cool. Love it. I feel like Guns N' Roses would be fun. Also, thank you, Pop Myth. They scared me, but I think I did okay with them. And Corner Sun. Corner Sun, Corner Sun. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll say like 5 more minutes to get to a stopping point. And then we will do our outros. Yeah. So I'll ask you the tough question, Geoff, that I absolutely do not want to answer myself. In that, what's the favorite concert that you've ever been to?
That's a hard one.
I know.
I went to a lot of shows in my teenage years. I would probably say one of my favorite. Well, Lollapalooza's up there. Like that year was just really, really good. And then the first Ozfest I went to was in '99. Yeah, '99. And that was a really good lineup too. So I got to see the original lineup of Black Sabbath. But and it's, if you've never seen Ozzy on stage, it is a sight to be seen. But anymore, it would be a lot different because he can't move. He couldn't really move then, but he really can't move now.
Yeah.
But it's literally like watching an old lady run around on stage with a bucket of water and just splashes people from side to side. It's so funny to watch him do that. And that year I also saw Slayer, and it was the first year Godsmack was out. Like their first album hadn't even dropped yet. Deftones, which is one of my top 5 bands. I've seen Alice in Chains as well, twice. New Alice in Chains, not original. I never got to see Lane. We were all poised to go to see Kiss in '95 or '96 when Alice in Chains was opening for them. But that's when Lane got really sick and he dropped off. So we were like, we're not going to go. Sick as in, that was the end of him, basically. Like he got back on heroin and then died in 2000s. But I have seen. I've just been lucky to see a lot of great bands. I think, and ones that I've taken. My kid too. Like he's real psyched to see Megadeth because that's one of his favorite bands. And I think I'm down to only one band on my bucket list that I need to see, and that's Pearl Jam. I haven't seen them yet.
Okay.
They unfortunately aren't going to be doing much touring anymore. They do double dates now. Like this year, I got excited because they're going on tour this year, and they're doing double dates at all the cities, and they're not coming here.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, great guys, thanks. Those 8 cities get to see you. I'm glad. Maybe come here next time.
Yeah.
But they're also in their 60s, so they're probably not going to be coming on.
That's the one that gets me with some of the bands because, the older guys, they're getting a lot older and they just don't, they can't tour as much. And this is not a like, no, I get it. But also I'm just like, oh, that's a bummer. I would love to see you. I will never forget in high school, I was getting into the Scorpions. That was one that my dad listened to. And I'd talk about that. And I was like, oh my God, I'd love to see them. And he's like, yeah, good luck. Like they're German. They're never going to come here. Like they don't tour that much. And it was like 2 or 3 years later. And they came to Tags, which is this little venue by me. And we got to see them. And it was so much fun. Like the guy's voice was still there. And it was so cool. And Dad's like, there's no way. I don't know how this happened. And I'm like, that's amazing. But to your point about Ozzy, I got to see Ronnie James Dio, not because I went to see him. He just happened to be along with like Deep Purple and somebody else. But it was the same, like He was like 5'3" and maybe
Oh, he's
100
tiny.
pounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
so what? He was this little guy. He had this like sparkly silver shirt on. He had this very like permed light hair that he kept like flipping back, and I was just like, this is the like godfather of metal, and I'm just like, I'm so conflicted over this, but I'm happy I got to see him. But he's just he's so little.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. When I was living in Albany, Alice Cooper had a radio show on one of the stations up there. It was Halloween time, and I guess he and Dio were like really good friends. And he was just like, if you're looking for a late Halloween costume, you can cut your legs off and go as Ronnie James Dio. I was like, oh, that's terrible, but also hilarious.
But also, you're not
tiny.
wrong.
Right.
Yeah, that was funny. I will say, like, and I know, people are take it or leave it with Godsmack, but I will say, when I saw them, they put on a hell of a show.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. If you haven't seen them live, you really should, because they do that Battle of the Drums thing.
I was just gonna mention that. I was like, it's cool to listen to. It's even freaking cooler in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, like, they've done that from day one, because they did that Ozfest that I saw them on in '99, and we didn't realize at first that there were two drummers drumming, and then we saw it. I was like, oh, look at that! And then they do this drum roll that goes from one drum kit to the other, and it's so seamless. You have no idea, but you can watch it just happen, and it's just this wave of. It's just crazy.
It's really crazy. It's really fun though, and yeah. I genuinely like a lot of their music, but I was like, if you didn't like any of it, it's worth it for that.
Just for that, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I got to see 3 Days Grace with their original singer, and I will say, like, I really love their stuff. But it wasn't like, I think that concert, the group I was most excited for was Breaking Benjamin, because they were one I hadn't ever seen before. But the energy of the crowd that 3 Days Grace brought, and like the lead singer would take like red Solo cups full of beer and like chuck them out into the audience, but in that way where, like, because of science, they would stay. Like, it didn't just splash, like he chucked it and they were like landing with people, and I'm just like, what is this sorcery? What are you doing? But there's a song that they have called Riot, and like, it was that the fun level of energy where the whole crowd is on it, and like this whole stadium is just cheering "Let's Start a Riot," but it's not the scary kind where you feel like you might die. But it was just that perfect, like, this is so freaking cool. I cannot get over how exciting this is for a band that I really like, and just that, like, that was such a fun experience. And they were a good time. But sorry, Alex, I feel like we took a big detour into heavy metal land, and
could have jumped in at any time. I'm just drawn away.
All right. Well, I got no color done, but that's okay. I got a lot of line art. But Geoff, I'm going to make you do show and tell first.
Hooray.
Hooray. Let's do it.
This is my picture.
I like it.
And then I can show you the picture I used. Make it bigger. Be bigger. That's the picture I used as a reference.
Yeah, I really like that.
It's all right. It's outside my comfort zone. It's not going to be great, but
No, but fun. Even with that, I'll say your shape, language, and understanding is so strong that it is still so visually pleasing. Like, I really love it. I really, really love it. I would absolutely, like, this would be an album cover that would stop me in my tracks and be like, hey, wait, what's this one about? Tell me more about this. So, no, that's so cool. Yeah. So, okay. So, genuine question. If now that your commission list is open and people want to get themselves in Cubist Geoff style, is that a possibility?
Sure. Hey, yeah, anything you want, I will try. I will do that. I have no qualms in trying to do anything. So whatever people want.
Yeah. But hey, if they want to support you, follow you, see more of your awesome stuff, what is the best way to do that?
Right now, Instagram and Facebook and Blue Sky are the easiest places. I will update that little thing that just popped up eventually. I meant to do it before today, but things got kids. But yeah, I'm not on Twitter anymore. But yeah, Facebook is I'm old, so that's where I'm at. And or you can just email me, and it's jeffreymunn@gmail.com.
Hey, that's easy. We love it.
Great.
And if you want to see art, fellow artists that we've had on Doodle Crew, Hebe Buffet has a Geoff Munn original. Soapbox Klotz has a Geoff Munn original. I have to get my part of it done, but I also have a sketch cover with a Geoff Munn original. So yeah, very, very cool. Yay! I like it.
I do
All right.
traditional. Well, just real quick, I do traditional as well. So if you're looking for like sketchbooks or like a 5x8 or something with regular markers and pen and ink, I do that as well. So.
Yeah. It's in the other room, and I don't want to take the time to run and get it. But I will go get it, and then maybe someday get off my butt and finish my part of that.
Maybe by November.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got a deadline by November because that's when we'll see each other again. Perfect. I did it. All right. Over to you, Alex.
Oh no. All right, hang on. Let's see if I remember how to. Nope, not that. Good luck, me. No, there we go. I once had my screen set up for this sort of thing, but no longer. Here you go. It's nowhere near done, but it is something.
Yeah.
If you want to give up on all my artwork, as I have, and catch me on podcasts, you can. I do so many. So thank you, Emily, for putting together the entire everything in the chat with all these things, because I realized when you shared it earlier that you asked for this specifically and I did not deliver. So thank you for sharing.
I just wrote it. I wrote it for you.
Thank you. Yeah. There you go. Check out all of the different shows you can. I guess just go to linktr.ee/AlexandBirds and you can find all my shows and stuff there, and maybe some art sometimes if you're lucky, I guess.
Yes, very lucky. But yeah, I feel like again, you like TTRPGs, we got you covered. You like Animorphs, we got that. You like book club, you like horses. Like, there's a pretty good amount of stuff that we cover.
What's not to like?
Exactly. Yeah, and make sure to tune in Tuesday, which is tomorrow when we're recording this, at twitch.tv/CZDrop. Most third Tuesdays of the month, we stream Art Corner there, so you can also watch us make art there. And I know this month we have a special guest. So, yeah, but more Alex art. Yay! I love it. All right, my turn. Here we go. Yeah, so I got it laid out. I drew some wings. They happened. But yes, this is lead singer of Rammstein, Till Lindemann. And yeah, I'm gonna get in the background details a little bit. I was thinking it'd be fun in the picture that I used as reference. Yeah. You can see the backing band and all the lights and everything. So I figured I would try and incorporate that into the little vignette elements that are in there. Yeah, and then I gotta color it, so it'll be fine. It's good. I am super good at finishing all of my art. If you do want to see any of my finished art, though, that is all across the internet at a Swan named Emily. I sell my stickers over on Etsy. You can also support me on Patreon, where you can, for a certain tier, you can make suggestions about the stickers that I make and the art design that I do. Yes, this is my favorite scroll as Alex holds up all the ones that I sent her. I love it. Yeah, you can also listen to my voice on a whole bunch of podcasts. If you want to see chat show stuff, it's over at twitch.tv/inaddpod. It's the In Addition podcast with 3 of my lovely friends. Surprise Attack Book Club, where we talk about YA literature. I am also currently reading through Animorphs for the first time. So if you follow Animorphs Anonymous, which Alex is also on, you can listen to my thoughts on Child War for the first time. I do play TTRPGs. I guest on some shows. I've been on Dungeons and Dracon Beams. I might be showing up on something else soon, so you can hear me there. I also do Guild of Granddaughters, and I'm on Art Corner. So yeah, I'm all over. If you want to see more of Doodle Crew, we are at Doodle Crew Draw across the internet. All of these lovely artists send me in their artwork, and I get to post it online and showcase that, which is amazing. And sometimes I'm good about posting when the VODs go up on YouTube. I realized not recently because I have to post 2 things about that, but there are 2 new episodes up there. So they live on my channel here for a couple of weeks and then they move over to YouTube. But you can also watch the previous 3 seasons of Doodle Crew there. And I have an interview series, which I would like to do again because we've had some new amazing artists join us. But if you want to hear me talk to the artists, that I did a couple of years ago at this point. Those are up there too. You can also check out, although we have not done new episodes recently, you can check out Sketching Shakespeare, which is me and Kruggles from chat. She'll bring me a piece of Shakespeare prose and I'll illustrate a comic page based on that. So there's a whole bunch of stuff over on YouTube. I think that's everything. Thank you all so much. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the great conversation. This is so much fun. I am so happy. A huge thank you to Dell from 2 years ago for throwing this suggestion our way. And now that we've finally done it, I really like this one. I think we might need to bring it back. So yeah, if you liked it, let us know. And yeah, we'll do more. But for now, we love you all. Goodbye.